Hi everyone, welcome back to RC Camping and Crawling. Today we're looking at the Redcat Ascent. We're going to modify this body, try to make it look a little more scale. And I wanted to do something different, so I'm actually going to try to use this. It's a Fast and Furious 2020 Jeep Gladiator diecast. And I actually haven't taken it apart, so I'm not sure if it's diecast like plastic or if it's actually metal. The price of it, I wouldn't expect it to be metal, but measuring it out, approximately, if I measure center hub to center hub, it's about a 15.5-ish. And so is the Redcat. Almost identical wheelbase. So I know the scale is going to be slightly off because it looks like, maybe this body is just slightly smaller, but I think with the details and these little bit smaller tires, that actually might work out pretty good. So I'm going to start taking this apart now and see what we can do. Okay, got it out of the package. It is definitely actually metal, which is interesting. For $19.95, I think it was, Canadian. It's very surprising. Take out these little plastic bits off. Okay, so it's got opening doors. Full interior. Wow. Pedals and everything. Shifters. Looks like only the front door is open, which is fine. So the scale of this thing is quite impressive. I don't know if the hood opens or not. It does. A little engine under there. Wow. Yeah, this thing looks pretty cool. So it's even got a little rack on the back here. Looks like it's removable. Probably just glue that down, I guess. Or, yeah, I'll probably glue it down. It's definitely way smaller, but I don't know. I think it might look okay up on the body. So I just gotta figure out how to take this body off this truck and put it on the Redcat. So it looks like there's some screws. Take that off for now. Roller chassis off. Just a lightweight plastic thing. Solid axles, obviously. Now we're left with this body. The interior looks like actually a nice little interior, but it's okay. So we'll have to see if that'll fit with the electronics. And if it doesn't, that's okay, because you still have the half interior. Still have the doors and that, so I think it'll still look good. Box just kind of sits in there. Oh, it looks like the engine comes out with it as well, so that's... Oh, I think that's something we can just glue in. I could just glue that right like that if I wanted to. So... grill was also, looks like the grill also needs to be glued in. So first shot, this trunk probably has to come out. Okay, so I got the truck box out. That went pretty well. This is what it looks like now. Kind of just completely just a shell. Looks good, so the doors work. Now what I noticed is the doors both have these long kind of hinges that they swing open on. So the problem with that is that's what's getting, it's the same width basically as the front shocks on the frame. So I'll show you what I mean. So if you look in there, that's actually a better view. You can see where the door hinges are hitting the shocks. So I think I'm gonna have to take those door hinges off. I'm gonna cut them off, and then I'll just mount the door permanently. There's actually a little screw hole I might be able to just screw the door down. Other than that, for the front, I think it fits not too bad. The back is obviously way too high. So in the back, this little piece of metal here, part of the die cast, is just barely hitting the shock towers. So I'm going to trim that off as well. And I think that'll give me room to fit on here quite nicely, because it looks like it's actually lining up with the axles pretty well perfectly at this point. So I'm going to trim that off. I'll mount the doors. The other issue is the hood hinge just barely squeaks by. So it might be okay. I might be able to use this engine bay, which would be kind of neat. I'd probably even paint up some of these little caps and stuff in here so it looks a little more real. And I'm hoping I can still sneak the box back in as well. So I'm going to work on mounting those doors and cutting those hinges off now. I'll have a look at that. So I got the box grinded down there. I don't have a Dremel, it's out of commission right now, so I had to grind it down by hand, unfortunately, but I'm going to take a couple minutes. The doors are now glued in all the way around the edges. I'm going to let them dry. And then once it's dry, I'm actually going to put a screw through this little mount. It's actually supposed to mount the bottom of the chassis out of the shell here, but I'm going to put a little screw in there just to help hold the doors on. One thing I did want to point out is the weight of this thing. So here I have a very kind of unscientific food scale. So with this food scale, if I weigh this Jeep body, 302 grams. So compare it to a Land Rover Defender body. So here's my Land Rover Defender body. It's got all the bits on it. So camping gear, light bar, spare tire, kind of the works. And it weighs 217. So 100 grams, not quite 100 grams. So not quite 100 grams between the two. What I was thinking, since it's only 100 grams or so, is I've already shaved off a decent amount of material there, and I've actually cut off those door hinges. So even those door hinges, 1, 2, that's 5 grams right there. So I think I'm going to probably see if I can remove some of these unnecessary parts on this body. So like these mounts on the back that I don't need anymore, I'll take those off. These giant hood or door hinge mounts, I could probably take those off as well. These little tabs under the front fender, take those off. So I'm thinking I could probably shave off, a few grams from this thing to try to make it a bit lighter. I could probably even take some of these screws out up top and take the cover off, glue the cover on, and just put a few screws back in to save some weight there. So I'm going to try to balance as much weight as I can between that and what a normal, RC body like that would weigh, the most I can. And also I gonna get some upgrades as well. So I've already got these Treal Diff covers. So these are 32 grams for these two. So, you know, 32 grams there, I got 5 there, almost 40 grams already. So the balance between the weight of that and a regular Traxxas body should be pretty close, but I'm gonna try to shave off as much as I can from this thing to get the weight down a little bit, because it is quite heavy. It looks really good though. Okay, so here's the initial fitment. I've taken off the door hinges, so the door fits now. I think the fitment works out pretty good. It looks tall, for sure, but I think it looks pretty cool. As for the fitment on the back, I trimmed out that piece of die-cast metal down there. Oops, right down there. Camera to focus on it, in there. So that's been trimmed back from that wide to nothing there that you can see. So trim that down, it fits perfect. On the back, you can see this hole is where the stock body mount clips onto. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually mount that to the tailgate here. Just this piece right here. I'm going to mount that to the tailgate, kind of like I was mounted to this tailgate actually. And that'll give us that ability to close that, or to hook this down rather. On the front, so you'll notice there's no control module back here. We pop open the hood. There we go. So under the hood is a control module now, and it fits hilariously perfect. Yeah, it's fitting in there pretty nice. So now there's a bit of a gap down here, but that's okay because that's where there's a filler panel for the grill right here that goes behind and fills that up. And then the stock hook needs to go there. So I think those two will fill that gap up nice. And that'll leave us with a pretty cool looking truck, I think. So I'm going to work on those items now. I'll film what I can. I'll get back to you in a second. All right, there it is. I got it fit. Looks really cool. So I was able to utilize the Redcat rear bumper still. It just happened to fit in there perfectly. So I'll go over kind of some of the things I did to get this to fit. Now it's not absolutely perfect. It's slightly too far forward, but the way I have it mounted in there, I don't really have much of a choice at the moment. I'm able to play with this a bit later and get it just perfect. But anyway, so here's how I did it. So at the front, we open the hood. You can see there's the controller. It's in the hood. It did fit. It fit just hilariously perfect, like I planned it. But I didn't plan it. It just happened to fit exactly in there. Around back, I was able to use some of the box. So I had to trim, you can see that very well, but I had to trim out the inside of the box a bit. But because there was that cover back there where the old electronics sat, it actually still looks, I don't know, pretty good in there. Took the spare tire off the top here, put those little boards on there instead. In the back, that's what it looks like there. I had to glue the tailgate on. They glued the tailgate on just so it fits a bit better. It doesn't come off. So how I got it to fit, underneath on this side, I was able to utilize the factory mount. And on the front, I also utilized the factory mount. So what I'll do is I'll take this off, show you guys what I mean. So there we go. This just comes off just like the Redcat does. Pull it forward. There we are. There's a Redcat Ascent, like it is normal. There's the body on its own. Flip it over. I was able to mount I still got to clean up all the metal filings, but I was able to mount the Redcat part of that piece that's under the body to that. And I just put a little brass spacer in there and a longer screw. So this thing goes down a bit farther. The box I trimmed out to get it to fit. This die-cast metal here, I trimmed that out as well to get that to fit better. And then on the front, I simply mounted the Redcat mount to the grill, this little plastic grill insert that slides in there. So I screwed it from the front. You can see a few screws in there. So I took that out, mounted it. It slides in there really nice, but I still glued it in just to be sure. And yeah, so the body itself went pretty well. I glued the doors in, trimmed this little piece in the panel, the dash panel. Other than that though, fits pretty good. So on the body itself, or sorry, on the frame itself, I did have to do some modifications. So I moved the electronics from the back, where they were sitting here, to the front. That's really the main thing I did, is move that up there. I had to play around with it a little bit to get it to fit just right. I'm probably still going to have to shave some of that body so these wires don't get so, messed up from that, but I think it still looks pretty good. The shock towers, unfortunately, I did have to file down, and that's because the hood hinges were in the way on that diecast truck. So when you close the hood, it would hit this. So I shaved that down. That's okay. I still get 2 shock mount options. I ended up moving the shocks back a bit just so it sits nicer. But yeah, other than that, it fit. It just took a little bit of filing, a little bit of playing around, and it was able to fit pretty good. So what do you guys think? Do you think this thing looks good, or did I ruin the Redcat Ascent? I think it looks pretty good. I'll take it up for a drive. Tomorrow, it's dark now, it's late at night, but I'll take it up for a drive and see how it performs. It's going to be heavier, obviously, but it looks so cool. I'm very excited to film this thing. It's going to look just awesome. And I think the scale turned out okay. I think it's going to work. A little bit of work in the interior to neaten that up. I couldn't fit the stock interior from the model in there. It's just too tight. I think it's going to hit kind of everything in there. I may be able to play around with it and get just the front seats and back seats to fit, but I'm not sure if that's worth it or not. I'll have to play around. If it is worth it, I'll put it in this video and we'll take a look. But other than that, I think this looks pretty cool. It looks great up on the shelf as well. So it looks a little cooler than the plastic diecast model, or plastic model rather. So anyways, super excited. Let's hit the trails now. First impressions, extra weight doesn't really seem to make a negative impact at all. The motor you can feel a little bit, but still seems to tackle everything so well. The downhill sections. Just take the same line I just did, but put it down. First side hill took a bit of a tumble, but that's okay. That's pretty steep. Okay, so I've done this hill climb in other videos. Just kind of a long corner. No rocks or anything, just kind of soft. So see what it does at this. Top part always gets sandy, so you can kind of go the sandy route or the rocky route. Side hill again. Let's see. She's a little tippy. Yeah. All right, there it is. So in conclusion, it's awesome. I like the body. It looks way better. It's just really fun to drive. It's just neat to look at when you're driving it. I did put those Treal portal covers on, or not portal covers, sorry, Diff covers, front and back. So that helped weigh it down a bit. It definitely needs, for that side hill stuff, if you're going to put a cast heavy body on it, I'll need to get brass portals. Probably the rest of the suspension and stuff will need to be metal as well to help offset that weight. And then new springs. They're very, kind of actually surprisingly sagged out from just the extra weight of that body. So minor adjustments, but I think at the end of the day, it looks great. It's really fun to look at. It drives nice. It's super fun. The body's going to need some touch-ups more often because I imagine this stuff isn't meant for tumbling, but it looks great. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.